everybody, my name's Illyanna and I'm here to answer my most frequently asked questions about EF Ultimate Break. The first question I get asked the most about EF Ultimate Break is this a scam? No, it's actually not, although it does sound too good to be true. The first trip I took with EF Ultimate Break was back in 2014. I went to Thailand in the islands during New Year's, so we happened to be in Bangkok on New Year's. I then took an EF Ultimate Break trip to Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. I spent about 10 days on that trip. I spent 7 days on my own in Italy visiting my host family that I'd met there in college. And then I took another 10-day trip with EF to Vienna, Budapest, and Prague. So it was kind of like 10 days, 7 on my own, 10 days. Kind of a crazy experience, just kind of spending that much time in Europe because I'm from the US, but it was really fun. My next trip after that, my brother and I, with a family friend, booked a trip to Greece. When we did that kind of, I think it's like 11 or 12-day trip to Greece, kind of floating through the islands and doing all of those excursions. COVID happened, so like a little bit of a break there, skirt. Then, as soon as Iceland opened up, I was on that. So I signed up for the June 2021 Iceland tour. I was actually the second trip since COVID to go out, which was a pretty cool experience. And then most recently, I just finished my trip to Costa Rica with the EF Ultimate Break Ambassadors. And so if you keep watching this video, you'll see a code at the end for you to earn $100 off your first EF trip. So clearly it's not a scam because I've had the time of my lives on these trips and I have the pics to prove it. But the next thing people ask me the most is, how are you paying for this? Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm a teacher, which means I'm always balling on a budget here. I don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend on traveling. But what I love about EF Ultimate Break is that you have payment plans that you can enroll in. So for me, for example, I try to save as much as I can up front and put as large of a down payment as I can. I work like a second job outside of school. I do summer school. So I always kind of try to have extra income coming in to like feed my travel bug. So once I put down as big of a down payment as I can, I kind of sign up for their bi-weekly payments. And so they pull out of my bank account every Monday after my paycheck. And I set that specifically in the EF portal. What they do ask though is that you have your payment completed 90 days before the trip. That kind of ensures that you're going, they're going to buy your flights, and then you have all of that taken care of. It's kind of great because if you're paid before 90 days before your trip, I now have another 90 days to start saving money to like spend while on tour. So that's like me knowing that I want to book an excursion or I want to really eat like a fancy dinner one night. So they're really good at communicating with you how your payment plan works and then allowing you extra time after your money is due to like keep saving for your trip while you're on tour. My third, are we on 3? Sure. My third most commonly asked question is usually, do you feel safe? I'm naturally somebody who just kind of always is on high alert. Not that that's like, it's because of a bad thing, but like just as a woman who's traveled alone by myself in multiple spaces, I'm always pretty much on high alert. I have never felt unsafe in an EF Ultimate Break situation. The cool thing about signing up to do this tour is that you always have a tour guide with you. So on every trip I've had a tour guide and they are on the bus with us the entire trip. And so when they're on the bus with us, they are making sure we're getting from point A to point B. They're with us at our hotels and they have their own hotel room. They give you their phone number, usually create like a group WhatsApp to be able to sign up, to like text each other and ask your tour guide questions ahead of time. But they're people who know the land. Sometimes it's people directly from that country. Sometimes they're tour guides who are directly through EF. And so they've been on these trips multiple times. They know these tours forward and backwards. And they've always been kind of your go-to person. I had a situation where I had an asthma attack when I was in Greece and I was just feeling like really sick. My tour guide like left the group to help me find a pharmacy to get an inhaler. Now, side note, my inhaler was $2. Okay, $2. And in the US, like healthcare is such a scam. So I bought 6 inhalers, but that's beside the point. The point is that they are there to ensure your safety and that you're having a good time. So I've never felt unsafe. I'm always traveling with a buddy. You get a roommate. And so I just love the fact of like, you're building this community of travelers and you have each other's backs. You're going to safe places and excursions that they have safety precautions in mind. And you have a tour director with you at all times. So I've always felt super comfortable. Okay, so once I've talked to people about EF not being a scam, the money situation and safety, they're then like, how do I pack? I'm a backpack planner. Like, I don't use a rolling suitcase, and I will die on this hill. So in many spaces that are not the US, getting from point A to point B is not like nicely paved roads. It's like cobblestones. Your hotels do not look like hotels in the US. They just have less space there. So you're climbing like stairs to get to your 5th floor hotel room, and there's smaller spaces just because that's kind of naturally what happens in different countries. So I use a backpack, and I have like a traveler's backpack. I personally have an Osprey brand, not sponsored, but sponsor me. I have an Osprey brand backpack, and that just kind of holds all of my stuff. Depending on the climate that I'm in, it kind of depends on how much I pack. So when I'm in the summer months, I'll just kind of wear a lot of basics, like shorts, gym shoes, like 2 nice outfits, but a lot of things are always like mix and match. I try not to go for like super bold outfits, because if I try to put together outfits, for me, I just know I'm never going to have enough space for anything that I might want to bring back from tour. So I just bring a lot of like solids and basics and things like that. Now, like things that you should pack 100% is power adapters. Like if you're traveling to Europe, they don't have the same wattage as we do. So you have to get a power converter to be able to plug in any of your electronics. I've actually traveled to Europe multiple times. So I actually bought a European straightener just because that's like one thing that I know that I'll always need whenever I travel. So if you want to invest in like a European phone charger because you plan on going there a lot, that's always a good idea. I also always have a battery pack, like one of those rechargeable ones. The worst thing that can happen is your phone dying in a situation where you need it. So it's never like an unsafe situation, but it's like when we're at this waterfall and you have the best view ever and you want to take a picture and your phone dies. Do not let that happen. You can buy these on Amazon. Actually, I'm using one right now. Hey. But just something like this to kind of juice you up and keep your phone charged. And the third thing that I always bring with me are face wipes. I know. Or like baby wipes. Like anything wipes that are good for your sweat. Walking around, I just remember Greece specifically being so hot. And in my head, like being how far north it is, it's not that far north, but I just didn't think of it as like Mexico or Costa Rica. It was so hot. And I'm telling you, those baby wipes just made me feel refreshed every 4 hours whenever I needed to. So I would just say you need to make sure that you get a backpack to travel with, your battery pack, and your wipes. Game changer. So the last question I usually get asked is, how do I figure out what trip I want to go on? EF has these really cool features where you can kind of find your golden trip a few different ways. Personally, I find them by when the available travel dates are. So again, I'm a teacher, which means I have like a 2-week winter break and then like 6 weeks in the summer off. So I choose the calendar on the EF website to pick those specific dates. And then whatever trips are available to me during that time is when I book them. So recently there's going to be a trip to Bali in May, and that's just ended up being really perfect for my calendar. I've never been, so I signed up. Another way you can do that is by going on the website and picking like what countries you're interested in. So you can search by continent. So if you're somewhere that wants, like cities and nightlife, some places in Europe might be a good idea. There's lots of culture there, art, things like that. If you're looking for adventure, there are some hiking trips. Costa Rica was super adventurous. We did a lot of like hiking there and going through the rainforest. Iceland was super naturey if you're into that as well. I went to Iceland in summer, but I've heard the Iceland winter trip is totally different, and I'd love to go on that as well. So just depending on kind of your goals with travel, are you wanting to be adventurous? Are you wanting to relax? Are you wanting to do some nightlife? Are you wanting to explore nature? Kind of choose what you're interested in, and you'll find the perfect trip for you. So one last thing I wanted to let you know before I go is that I am not paid by EF Ultimate Break to do this. I'm just a teacher from Central Illinois. And so they offered a program for people to be brand ambassadors, and lucky enough, I was chosen. And so that allows me to offer these options to people to save money on their trips. So I'm going to post the link below. And if you click on that link and use my code, which is UA Illyanna 100, it stands for Ultimate Ambassador Illyanna 100, you'll get $100 off your first trip. So the only caveat is that you have to use the link that I provided in the comments below. So if you try to use the regular and just search EF Ultimate Break and then try to put the code in, it's not going to work. It's actually linked to my specific link. So go ahead and use that. Again, I have my little code up here. How cute. Somebody gave that to me. One of my students gave this to me, actually. So now I'm using it here. But use that code, get yourself that $100 off, and then I will see you next time. Bye.